Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of Cut It One. I am your host, Jay Just Jay, your resident troublemaker and your resident culture warrior. Let's get right into it. Okay, so periodically, you come across something that is just so unbelievably painful to watch or read or experience that you just kind of like want to beat yourself about the head and neck repeatedly with like a blunt object, because this is one of those things. This is one of those articles. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. I don't even know what else to say about this. All right, so this is coming from Startifacts, and it says Rings of Power, Sauron plot twist that can change everything. As if we haven't had enough Sauron plot twists in this show already. The Lord of the Rings of Power, have made Sauron's identity its center point, probably reluctantly, as fans could not stop theorizing about which character is in fact Sauron in disguise. Now that we know, spoiler alert, that it was Halbrand, there is a fan theory that might change the way we see Sauron one more time, or make us want to vomit. Basically, the fan theory implies that Sauron once had a child, and there might be a tragic backstory behind that, and that the show has left us plenty of clues to prove it. I swear to God, if they did this, I don't. Okay, according to the theory, we can see from the very first moment that Sauron is a broken man with plenty of trust issues, who gets more confident as his friendship with Guy Ladriel progresses. However, he is still clearly damaged. For instance, when we see him around kids, and that happens surprisingly often, he smiles, but in a really sad way. However, one particular scene in The Rings of Power appeared to convince the theory author. Quote, when Sauron has Adar on his back with his foot on his chest and a spear ready to drive into his throat, Adar calmly asks him, did I cause pain to someone you love? A woman? Sauron is not fazed. A child, perhaps. At the mention of a child, Sauron's expression turns to rage, and he rears back to drive the spear into Adar, but Guy Ladriel stops him, said this Redditor. I'm not even... The tone Halbrand used when he yelled at Guy Ladriel and told her she doesn't know what Adar did was definitely hinting that whatever Adar's deed was, it took a heavy toll on Sauron. Heavy toll, not tool. On Sauron. The theory goes on to suggest that Adar killed the child, possibly not even Sauron's biological child, since Maiar cannot reproduce. Luthien? But I digress. And Sauron was so devastated by it that he gave up the title of the Dark Lord and left Middle-earth, only to meet Guy Ladriel and have his spirit somewhat uplifted, enough to go back to his dark past. Other fans think the theory makes sense. It fits with the theme of the Dark Lords trying desperately to create and being unable to truly do so. There are several seasons of The Rings of Power to prove or debunk the fan theory. Season 2 is currently filming, with the premiere date set for blah, 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 blah. Who gives a shit? Yeah. I don't even know where... Okay, let's take the low-hanging fruit here. Okay, this is from Lois Everett, or Lois Everett. And she actually did another article that I agreed with her on, but this one I'm kind of like, Lois, you kind of dropped the ball there. Okay, Maiar cannot reproduce. I'm going to put two names out there, and that's all I'm going to say on this one, okay? And that is Melian and her daughter Luthien. That's it. Anyway, that one's debunked. If you don't know what I'm talking about, okay, if you don't know what I'm talking, I feel free to message me directly. You can hit me up, either on Twitter or through email or whatever, directly. I'll explain it to you, okay? But as a Tolkien fan, I'm sure you already know what I'm referencing. Okay, let's move on from that, because this is like you're looking for something, but you're doing it in waist deep sewage, right? That's how bad this theory is. Okay. Now, let's just wrap our heads around this. Sauron had a child. Sauron had a child. Okay. First of all, who the hell would be sleeping with Sauron that he'd have a child, right? I mean, you're like the second most evilest being in all of creation, according to Tolkien. Um, I don't think that your hookup game is going to be that good, right? You know, if you're surrounding yourselves with orcs and other foul beasties, I don't know. Okay, now even if you were to say, well, back when he could shapeshift and he was Anatar, the giver of gifts and whatever and stuff like that. Okay, fine. Okay, but if Sauron was going to have a kid, I think, or had a kid, I think Tolkien would have mentioned that Sauron had a baby, right? Generally, when you're telling like these big, epic level stories and you have like, the evil devil character, you generally don't forget to mention that the devil may have a child. It's kind of important things that people need to know. Then again, Guy Ladriel did forget to mention that Halbrand was Sauron to Elrond and Celebrimbor and these other guys. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But just conceptually, like, and this is the problem that I have, is that there's too many quote unquote fans out there that are willing to entertain completely asinine theories like this that are completely off the wall. And I understand it's fun and cool to come up with random stuff, like, well, what happens if Aragorn had married Eowyn instead of Arwen and stuff like that. And I get it. You could speculate and stuff like that. But when you're sort of trying to say that this is where the show could go, right? Because you're pointing out specific things in the show that sort of hint at it. This is just like bad, like just fan fiction. I don't even know if it qualifies as fan fiction, because you're basically throwing out, you're trying to build a theory of how things might be playing out, or things within a story that completely throws away everything that's the story is about and everything that's contained within the story. So in other words, you have to disregard Tolkien and everything he wrote in order to accept this, and that's why it's so bad, right? So the idea that you would have Sauron have a kid is ridiculous, especially in a show where Guy Ladriel, who's apparently reinvigorating him to be evil, she should be running around with a kid. Because Tolkien tells us who her child is, Celebrian, right? So Guy Ladriel should have a child and a husband in the show, but clearly doesn't. Well, she hasn't seen her husband. I got a nasty feeling they're bringing him back in, but he's probably going to be, I don't know, black or Asian. We'll see. But and not that there's anything wrong with that, but knowing Amazon and their casting choices, you would have Celebrian, who is very described very specifically, and they would completely ignore that. That's what I meant by that, lest anybody lose their proverbial shit here. But yeah, this theory is just like horrible. Like Sauron has a child. Sauron has a child that Adar killed, apparently. Adar managed to kill some child that's important to Sauron, to the point that the second most evil being in all of Middle-earth was so heartbroken and distraught that he decided to give up being the second most evil being ever in Middle-earth and said, fuck it, I just want to, ride a raft and make things to sell at Ren fairs. Apparently is as equally valid theory as this, but I got nothing. I just wanted to share that, because this is why we as Tolkien fans need to have content that's constantly out there, keep discussions going, keep talking about this, because there's too many people that don't know why that theory is so far-fetched, who don't understand why that theory is almost borderline, like causes a physical reaction of revulsion in Tolkien fans, right? It is insulting on so many levels. And that's why we need to keep talking about Tolkien and his work, and how the show departs from that, because these are the type of people, as that other YouTuber said, these are the type of people that you will have entering into this fandom and trying to adjust it to comport with their views, right? And if that sounds like a very gatekeeping sort of comment to make, it is. It absolutely is. I make no bones about it. I'm all about sharing whatever fandom, in this case Tolkien, with everybody, but you got to understand the rules, right? It's like, you invite people over to dinner at your house. That doesn't mean that they get to just, start taking off their shoes, putting their feet up on the table, and if you're watching like the football game, they get to just come in and change it on you, right? There's rules. You have to respect the house rules, right? And so I'm all about bringing new people into Tolkien fandom and stuff like that, but you got to respect the house rules, right? You can't just come in here and be like, you know what, that's stupid. Galadriel's, a female warrior, and Sauron had a baby who Adar killed, and that's the story. No, that's not how it fucking works. Okay, you don't get to come in here and do that. At least not on my watch. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Like, does it scare you that there are people that are really putting these kind of theories together because of this show, and that these are the people that are going to be directed towards Tolkien and Tolkien fandom? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's videos. There will be stuff tomorrow. I don't know how many videos are tomorrow. It is going to be New Year's Eve, so I will have to make my day a little bit shorter, but we will see. Like I said, I'm working on something that I've been editing and trying to get together. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you like the video, like the video. If you feel like sharing the video, by all means, please feel free to do so. It gets more people to see it. And if you have not subscribed, I would hope that you would consider subscribing. Because we got goals, yo. We got goals for 2023, right? The channel and stuff like that. So if you want to be part of that, it will be awesome. We've got a couple of things coming up. I think I'm also going to do like just an update video tomorrow, just to let you guys know some of the plans for 2023. I think that'll be cool. Anyway, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You are beautiful badasses. And I will see you all on the next one. Until then, be good, be safe, be awesome. Peace.